all good things to say about Commissioner Cox.
He has always been a supporter and a friend to me throughout my whole career. In fact, during my very first election, he helped volunteer and helped me stuff envelopes and print stuff.
He's just been an incredible ally for me as a new elected official in helping me to be grounded and to help me along in the process of trying to staff and understand county organizations. And
has always been super supportive and making you feel like you're proud to be an employee of the county.
But Dean is always such a gentleman, so easy to work with, and I believe that the county has been the beneficiary of Dean and his talents and his personality for a long, long time.
Dean and I speak German, and so we'll be in a meeting and it'll be fun to just throw someone's name out that's inside the room with us and watch them perk up because they think we're talking about them, when in reality we're talking about something we experienced on our missions in Germany and the fun things that we remember.
And, we have this fun thing that whenever we pass each other or see each other, we always do this, hey, what watch are you wearing today? We kind of talk about watches. And the great thing about Dean is no matter how rushed or short on time he is, he always gives me a minute or two. And that's just the example and leadership that he has, that he's so personable and gives everyone the time.
I love how approachable he is. He has a great smile, great sense of humor.
He's always been so kind to me personally.
He has become my dear friend, someone I trust, someone that I lean on for institutional knowledge within the county and beyond.
His drive to get things done.
Great attitude, well balanced, works on difficult issues.
He has a wonderful mind, a way to think about things, process things, and sometimes I just feel like I'm learning from him and as we discuss things.
I told Dean this a long time ago, he's one of the smartest people I know. His mind is capable of so much, and so it's been a real pleasure for me to just get to know him and learn, be mentored by him on all the things that are going on in the county and in government.
And he doesn't forget anything. It just seems like, oh, I remember that. It was like 11 years ago, and he can give you the very specific details of a certain incident. It's just amazing to work with him.
I was very amazed at just the depth of knowledge he has about so many different subjects. And not only just he knew a lot of stuff, he was always continuing to learn. And it was really neat to have certain discussions about things that he would go out and study and learn, and then he'd come in and tell me about it. And so I was so impressed with his thirst for knowledge and to learn new things.
He's been able to take that life experience and really leverage it for the people of Washington County. And it's been a true honor to work with that man.
One of the things I appreciate more about Dean than anything is just the day-to-day. If you wanted to bounce an idea off from him or get his thoughts on something, he was there. He had a lot of good wisdom and a lot of political savvy. He really helped me get my feet on the ground. My learning curve was about like that, so it was good to have him there.
He has always been willing to listen, discuss issues, and has shown me personally some great kindness in the past, and I will always appreciate that.
He's a good man. He's a terrific man. You can see that he's well loved and well respected, and he earns that.
He's always had an open door that we can go in and talk, or on the phone, or calling him at 2 o'clock in the morning when we have something going on. He's always been very accessible and very much how can I help kind of attitude.
It's been nice having him on the county commission to where you know somebody if you call them at night. If you call them in the middle of the night when you've got a fire, a disaster, a flood, you know that he'll be there for you. You know he'll have the resources of the county there for you.
Really helped me understand what it means, what community means. The most important thing I'd say was Dean was a very community person and really set an example for me with his leadership.
I think one of Dean's greatest attributes is no matter what the situation, Dean's always Dean. Whether we're battling a wildfire or we're dealing with a political fire.
We really need to look at the entire career that Dean had and the great things he did here.
Over emergency management for the county, and then the administrator of the county, and then of course as a commissioner.
It's evident that he cares deeply about this community, as evidenced by the service that he's given.
I've seen him tackle very complex issues where citizens have competing interests and do it in a way that everybody is satisfied with the outcome and walks away happy, which is an incredible skill. He's one of the very best elected officials I've worked with over my 32 years of doing this.
I don't know that people realize all the behind-the-scenes work that Commissioner Cox has done.
We wondered when Dean became a commissioner what would change, because he'd been the county administrator. He'd been doing a ton to run the county. But one thing that fundamentally changed was how we approached the Northern Corridor. We would not have a Northern Corridor if not for Dean.
I'm especially grateful for your instrumental work in getting the Northern Corridor approved, a project that Washington County, the state of Utah, and the Utah delegation had been trying to accomplish for decades.
It was my honor to sit with you as you almost single-handedly brought together a group of diverse stakeholders from federal, state, and local levels to find a path forward.
I was blown away by how thoughtful he was about how to approach that procedurally, to be sensitive to all of the points of view out there, and to try and accommodate residents of the county whom it's obvious that he loves.
I listened to him when he was testifying in front of Congress regarding the Northern Corridor, and it was the most amazing thing to just listen to him. It was second nature to him. And I thought to myself, what an incredible asset this county has. And I don't think that the people of the county truly understood what a great man they have working for them.
He came into a project that he'd been working on for 3 years, but looked at it through a different lens and fundamentally improved how we were going about doing it.
It needed someone at the county, at the local level, who could bring everyone together, who could listen and respect the different voices, because this was not easy. Dean Cox is the reason that all came together the way it did.
I don't think I've ever seen anyone who could bring a group of people that were vastly different with different priorities and be able to ask questions and bring those priorities into focus and then develop programs that would benefit not just Washington County, but all of the counties.
Dean is excellent at helping to guide processes of important efforts in our county. And Dean is the statesman. He's the glue that holds it together.
Anytime you want to talk about what's happened in this county, Dean can tell you step by step how everything transpired. He's worked on, as an emergency manager, he's worked on multiple disasters, earthquakes, floods, helped with developing mitigation projects throughout the county that have saved thousands and thousands and millions of dollars worth of damage. The repeater systems that we use in Washington County in order for our public safety people to talk for years were the result of his work, because he was AM radio operator and he understood radio technology.
Now me being in that emergency management spot where Dean was before, it's a great thing for me because he laid all of that groundwork for me and for our office. So we've benefited greatly from that.
I love hearing Dean's stories about growing up here in St. George. They're very entertaining.
I mean, he knows Washington County probably better than anybody. He has flown over Washington County because he's a pilot. He's hiked up and down the mountains in his role as involved with emergency services in the sheriff's office. He's been to the top of the highest peaks where the radios are, his place up in Kolob, all the way to the bottom of the desert throughout the entire county.
Been a big support of me and of Springdale, and I've really appreciated that.
As I run the library, a lot of the questions he has for me and the directions he has for me is focused on how is that going to impact the patron.
Dean has been a big supporter of advancing world-class health care here close to home in Washington County, and we're grateful for that support.
I've always felt support from Dean, and likewise I hope he's felt support from me.
He was always open to what the university wants to accomplish, just genuinely interested in making the county better, but every entity of the county.
Being able to interact with him at Tuacahn, and he comes out and enjoys the shows and is always so supportive. He's also a contributor. He doesn't just
buy tickets. He contributes of his own means.
Commissioner Cox has been just tremendously supportive of our national parks and our public lands. And
I remember New Harmony, the fire at New Harmony, that it was, really a really scary fire, and when it started making the run that it made, how close it came to being a true disaster. Yeah, but I remember Dean was right in the middle of it, hours and hours and hours, and I just remember how much I felt that everything was under control, even when it wasn't.
We got to know each other in the fire of a Joint Information Center when the flood happened in 2010. And that's when I really saw the love Dean had for this community. Lots of water was coming from everywhere. And we had just recently received training on how to be a Joint Information Center. We had never done one before in the county. That was our first event. He was so caring for Washington County during those floods, but has a central core of stability, knew in his center that in order for the county to function, he was the county administrator at the time, the coordination factor had to be as effective and efficient as possible. Kept his head, expressed concern for those who were losing properties and lives were at risk. You could really see that at the core of Dean was a sincere love for the people of Washington County.
We've done so many different trips with snowmobiling, spending time. I mean, we used to have the best discussions about county work and stuff when he would take me up in his plane.
Then he'd taken me out on the Arizona Strip several times to, after we've had some storms out there, to check and see if we'd had any water, got any water in our ponds for our cattle. And he wasn't very good at finding water. Most of the time they were all dry still, but it was a nice experience. Another trip we went to Blanding for a meeting, and we drove over and we came through Keonta. We stopped there for something to eat. We came out that area is not covered very good by GPS, and so we missed our turn. And instead of going up through the reservation on up into Keonta, we took a side trip through Colorado. So we gave him a hard time about that for a while.
We took a couple of road trips that maybe Dean's GPS got us off into the outer regions where it didn't show roads on the map, but we knew we were kind of in the right area, so we were able to get back out very quickly and easily. Would have looked bad if the search and rescue would have had to come in and rescue us while Dean was there. So,
in some cases in government, people have an agenda. I think that Dean always tried to make the best decision for Washington County. I don't think he had a personal agenda on what he was trying to accomplish, but would hope to further Washington County along.
It was never about Dean. It was never about, putting someone in a better position or anything else. Everything was about what's best for our community and our county.
And his legacy will continue.
My wife, Joan, wanted to make sure that I acknowledged Lorraine and told her how much we appreciated not just Dean, but the Coxes.
I know that his family is still number one, even though he has broad arms that have taken in a lot of people. But a shout out to his family for sure, and especially Lorraine.
I could always tell when she was calling the phone because he would immediately stop anything and he would answer the phone. He'd always say, "Hi dear," or "Hi sweetheart, how you're doing?" And seeing their relationship was just always very endearing, how much they loved and cared for each other.
I always tell Dean that the best decision he ever made was to marry my cousin. That's one thing I can tell him and he'll never argue with me on. So
my first impression of those two were, boy, these are good people. Dean and Lorraine were involved. They were friendly, they were courteous, respectful, and they were just so helpful, but they were such good community servants.
He and Lorraine are just good, top quality people, and I can't say enough about them.
He often says to me, "Nicole, I sure appreciate you." And today is my day to go on record to say, "Dean, thank you for being my biggest advocate. I appreciate you more than you will ever know. You will always hold a special place in my heart, and I will miss working with you on a daily basis."
You've taught me a lot about optimism, about looking for the good and believing that ultimately we will reach a good place in the decisions we make and in our efforts to govern well.
I've always been proud of you, Commissioner Cox, for standing up and making the right choices.
I attribute a lot of the experiences that I've had to him, and I look forward to continuing using the things that he has taught me.
I want to say thank you for everything you taught me. Thank you for teaching me about county government and how it's supposed to work and what counties should and shouldn't do. Thank you for teaching me everything about Washington County and how to adjust the mirrors on my car. That's a lesson that I will take with me the rest of my life.
And you've been a model to me. You've been such a great example. More than that, you've been a great friend.
Your friendship is I treasure. You and Lorene are the greatest people. Thank you for all you've done. And thank you for your friendship. It means a lot to me, and it's one that will last the eternities.
My friend, thank you for all that you've done for Washington County. You are to be commended for the 30 years of selfless and honorable service to the county. Your vision has helped shape what our community has become.
The courageous leadership and wealth of experience you've brought with each of your roles, it's going to be sorely missed. So thank you, Dean, for all that you've done for Washington County and for our state.
Dean, you honored our state with your commitment through 30 years of service to Washington County. Since your humble beginnings as an emergency services operator to a county administrator and then running for commission and winning a seat, you leave now with a much deserving recognition. Thank you for working tirelessly on so many important issues in southern Utah, including the Northern Corridor right-of-way and Habitat Conservation Plan renewal. Again, thank you for your service and thank you for being my friend.